the little vacuum setup I got going on for my model saw, and you're wondering what in the world I got going on, I'll explain a little bit here. Basically, it's just literally I got a cheap 5-gallon bucket that I put one of the converters, vacuum converters on. They're like 25 bucks at Walmart or whatever, super cheap. I've been having this for a while, so the suction on it has, kind of went out, and it's not the best, as you can see the extra sawdust here, but I can promise you if this wasn't hooked up to my switch, my automatic tool switch, which means once I press this button, that automatically comes on. 5-second delay, 7-second delay somewhere, give it a take. And that's been really nice. And also basically right now I'm gonna have one on order. I should be getting in the next couple days. Got me another one here for my table saw, because right now I'm just swapping back and forth to this and my table saw whenever I need. And I got a big old shop vac for my table saw with a big 2-inch hose that I have. Kind of set up here, going routed through this outfeed table, as you can see here, and out to the dust port of the table saw, which the table saw doesn't have the best vacuum. There's just so much open airspace right now that, once I kind of get through with this job, that's going to be my next job to tackle in the shop, is this dust collection for this table saw, to get it a little bit better. I've seen some videos on YouTube where a guy that had this exact same, he kind of took here one, made a zero clearance plate. That'll also help out extremely well. But basically inside of here, he made a box that's covered. He pulled this plate off, so I will put some storage, but he had a bottom here that completely closed off this cavity. And then he had a magnetic mat here with bristles to let the angle slide. So yeah, it was pretty neat, so I think I'm gonna try that. And then he had basically on the inside of that, kind of using cardboard to kind of, let's see if I can get y'all to see, it's a mess, but get cardboard to kind of close off all the additional air gaps that it loses. But yeah, that's kind of the next little project in here. Also adding a cyclone to the big vacuum, and I might have that set up at a central station, maybe somewhere, maybe in this corner or in the back here, behind here, and build me a boom arm that gets mounted above my wood rack. 8-9 foot boom arm that'll come out, and I'll be able to hook directly up down here. And I'll have a cyclone with my big vacuum set up somewhere here with a cyclone inside, maybe another 5-gallon bucket, or try to get something else to put all the big dust particles in that through the cyclone, and then just use the vacuum to get the finer stuff. That's gonna be, like I said, my next project around here, other than getting me a wall set up, probably using a French cleat system for tools and just miscellaneous stuff, as clamp, my wax that I'm gonna put on the table and the table saw here today, towards the end of the day, knives, pins, levels, I got extension cords, batteries, tools, kind of whatever else is just laying around right here. That way I can kind of get back into some organized mess. But yeah, man, that's kind of what I got going on. And then eventually I'll get that forming, maybe on like a flip down table, here. That way when I do cutting all this, I flip this up, put my pocket holes in here, and then I put it right back onto the table. But for now, just gonna ride on this Craftsman toolbox, that way I can roll it in and out wherever I need. I'll probably roll it right here, do all my pocket holes, and then once I'm done, I roll it back into its corner where it's out the way. I don't have to worry about it. And then I'll probably end up taking this whole table saw out feet table, moving it closer a little bit closer, maybe another 4 feet or so, where it's not necessarily in the center of the walkway of the door. That way it'll be a little bit easier for me to take material in. And then all this stuff will be off, so I'll be able to take all this. Basically, my table saw will be in this area, much closer to my chop saw, keeping it nice and close, where limits the amount of walking. And then with being a somewhat limited shop, which is more than enough room than what I need, I'll be able to have from like here all the way out to here to work, because I'm gonna have an office, like I said, way over here coming out, and then I'll probably have my CNC table set up here, which is currently being used for face frames. That's where I'm gonna build my face frames at too. So, but once all that's done, I will redo this whole outfeed table, do a 4x8 outfeed table coming off of the table saw. That way, that'll function as my workbench, my I'll build out my face frames, I'll build the cabinets, I'll build drawer boxes, do the shelves. I do everything right there. I think it'll be a little bit easier, a little bit better. Usable space, best use of the space here. I was planning on just keeping it like here and then building another 4x8 table here, for my face frames, and then having another 4x8 table working somewhere for a workbench, and then my CNC and laser engrave. It'd be too much. I'd have workbenches throughout the whole shop and not much floor space. So I think to eliminate all that, I'm gonna just do a 4x8 outfeed table with a workbench. And then this right here is gonna stay a 4x8, but this will probably relocate to this wall where my CNC is. And then that way I have the CNC workstation, my miter station, table saw, and then on the back side of my table saw, I'll have the bench and all that. And that cabinet may just roll up against, go somewhere, maybe in that back corner where I have my ladder and my speakers and all that so forth. But it's still kind of moving things as I go. The more I work in here, the more I kind of see how the workflow goes and the best option and best route for that goes. But yeah, y'all stay tuned, man. I got got this job we're gonna be building, which is a pretty big house. After that, I got an alder stain gray job. That's gonna be a pretty decent size as well. Probably a little bit bigger than this one. But it's basically gonna be the same styles, shaker, everything. With this is gonna be white oak, the other is gonna be alder with Salice undermount drawer slides. I don't have the material for the alder job yet, just because I don't want to have way too much material in here and I don't have enough room to walk. But with that job, this white oak job is kind of priority, because I not only have to build it, but I also have to stain and shoot it with 2 coats lacquer to seal it off and then install. And I'll probably got about a week and a half worth of time left. Once the face frames and all, it's not going to take long once I got my prep work done. And then after that is going to be that alder job that's going to be, getting on the priority list. I'm hoping I'm going to have time to work on the dust collection before the alder job, but I don't know. We'll see. This works, for right now. If I have to do this one and that alder job as I have set up, then it is what it is. I'll make it work. But yeah, I'm excited, man. My first real job in here, cabinet job. I've done a bunch of other stuff that I didn't need all this whole setup for, but it's getting its use today for sure. Blessing the old back metal here. Some good old sawdust. But I guess that thankfully that vac is doing some good. It's not doing the best, but it's working. These racks are working out good too. I'm gonna build me another lower one here for the material I actually use for, right now. Like today I've been grabbing off the floor, putting on here. I've been setting it up back here where it doesn't interfere with the fence of the saw and everything. And then as I need, I put here, and with this stop block, I can stack 2-3 boards up at a time if I need to make multiple cuts of the same size, styles, rails, or whatever it may be. But at least it would save the time of me bending down and grabbing it and all that. And it would all be right here set up. And at the end of the day, once that job's done, if I have any extra, it'll set up there. Or if depending on how much I have, it'll go direct, on the top of there. Probably go on the top of the V board, because that'll be the last thing I use for a very long time. I won't be busting into that for probably a couple months. The Cypress, hopefully I'll be working on getting those porch swings and all that built for my house to go on the front porch here soon, after maybe this job and that auto job. So I don't know, man, we'll see. I do know it feels good to be in the shop, man. I've been cooped up in the house with the rain. Has been pretty bad. Came a couple days ago, or I came the last couple times in the shop, did a little bit, just not a whole lot, just kind of get out the house to try to do something. But today I got out here probably about 7 o'clock in the morning and got to work, and it's been nice, man. Been enjoying it, some time to myself, been jamming to some old worship music. I used to be the old, rock and roll or something, but worship music has just been real nice and been peaceful, as, my faith and is a very important part of my life. It's really why I started the business. As you can see, Cross the Board Designs as a, cross, and it's actually a cross emblem with a fingerprint. Essentially the idea behind it is, I'd like to leave my fingerprint on everything, which is a reflection of our Lord and Savior. So a little bit of backstory on kind of how I became to be. I originally started the business as just drafting, as a designer, cabinet designing, drawing, and engineering for other shops. And then slowly started making connections with some contractors, getting cabinet work. And then at the time I was outsourcing it to a couple local shops that I've gotten close to over the years, and I did a couple jobs like that. And then it just got too much to where there was too much information that could potentially get lost between when I meet with the homeowner, do all the designs, to, actually building the job. There may have been stuff that have changed since design to actually constructing the cabinets that may have gotten lost, or something may have been interpreted wrong, or whatever it may have been. So it just kind of got a little too much, and then was missing the whole design side of it, actually building it. I was designing it, but I can't tell you the last time I actually built cabinets, an actual full job. I've done a couple of things here and there, but nothing to praise on. But man, I'm blessed to be able to do this and take you guys along with me. So y'all just, I'm gonna try to post at least a couple times a week. Forgive me if I don't, man. Life just gets crazy sometimes, especially with the business. Timelines is always an ever changing target. You can set a time and a day of the week to come in here, build, or go install, man. And with the weather, construction site, the job puts on pause when it has a bunch of rain like this, where you can't really do anything. So just kind of taking it one day at a time, really. And then like to keep y'all guys along and kind of put it out to the world, the good, the bad, the ugly of being a solo cabinet builder and owner of a cabinet shop. So y'all have a good one. Peace.